are you feeling like you want to get into question and answer? Would you ready for some to come your way?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm an open book. And so, yeah, please go to my website. Please follow me on Facebook. If you comment on any of my posts or message me, I'm very quick about getting back to people. And so, yeah, let's open it up. Hit me with what you got.
Oh boy. All right. Very good. I can attest that she's very good about getting back. And when I first invited her, if she'd like to do this meet and greet, I was so impressed. I'm not even sure what chain of events caused Danielle to cross my radar, but I was so impressed by you, your refreshing attitude. And I said, oh my gosh, we need youth in politics today. And I'm not political. I'm not even affiliated. I'm just totally apolitical. But that shows you how impressed I was about inviting you to join us. Just wanted to get to know you better. So, all right, this first question we have some that have been submitted ahead of time by some folks who weren't able to be with us today. The first one is, will you protect our families from bills that are stripping us of our parental rights, human, civil, religious, medical?
I hate that I have to say this, but is there any other way to defend the Constitution than to protect your family values? I mean, it just amazes me that we even have to ask these questions today, because if you think about how far we've come from the 1920s, the 1950s, the 2000s to now, wow, have we really just completely deteriorated on family values? And pop culture is a huge part of that. But yes, and so I believe in less government control. I think that there's too much government hands in a lot of stuff right now, and they just need to get out of it. How you raise your children at home, whether that's homeschooling, whether that's taking your kids hunting, that is your choice. And the government needs to really stop telling us how to raise our kids. So I have two little boys. I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. They love to go hunting with their dad. They both got guns when they were 6 weeks old. And I mean, you would think that I was committing murder just to let them have the same type of childhood that we had, hunting, fishing, camping with our parents, s'mores by the bonfire. And so I really do think that so much of what we see as the attack on the family actually goes deeper than just attacking family, right? So if you look at historically what a family is, this is going to be your support system. This is where you're going for love, for protection, for shelter, for food, for emotional support. And with all of the attacks that are happening on the family structure right now, we are alienated people into silos, right? So we are taking away your entire support system. We're taking away the words mother, father, things that have historically held such deep emotional ties to us. And we're trying to really just silo everyone. And this is one of those distraction techniques I talk about when I talk about strategy. It is easier to control an individual person who feels alienated, who feels depression, who feels anxiety, than it is to attack a strong family unit. It is easier to attack a small group of people versus an entire state versus an entire country. And this all goes towards pushing this social communism, Marxism on America right now. Remember after 9/11 and after Pearl Harbor, how united we were as a nation because we had been attacked. We all felt the sting of that, the pain of loss, but we came together, and it meant something different to be neighbors back then. Now you look at subdivisions today, most people don't even know their neighbors. They don't let their kids play with the neighbors. They don't have these great relationships. And so yes, I will absolutely 100% stand by, and I will not back down to bureaucracy on your rights as a parent, your rights for education as a parent, and your medical freedoms as it pertains to your children. If the government has anything to say about it, I would like to invite them to challenge me, because getting in the ring with me is going to be no easy task.
Excellent. Wow. That is so impressive. And Danielle, given your love for and support of our Constitution, you're no doubt familiar with Constitutional Sheriff Richard Mack. the Constitutional Sheriff and Police Officers Association, CSPOA. I'm a member of his posse group, and I'm taking his online certification constitutional course. That's wonderful. He's a personal hero. I had the pleasure of interviewing him last year. He's just so strong. And I was listening to him this morning in his recent video, and he was talking about, he said, just think about it, if our founding fathers even back in the 1960s, when they were talking about all of the things that they're going to be protecting people from and taking care of them, and this is all great and roses. And he said, but the only exception to that is in the event of something like a worldwide pandemic, and then forget it. Everybody's out for their own way, and things will return back to normal when we decide we think we might want them to. So he said, how would y'all feel about that? So, and he has said that in his opinion, he believes that we can help fix America by reaching out to all of our local sheriffs, one county at a time. I would imagine that
Absolutely.
you're kind of on board with that. So we're in the process of vetting our Arapahoe County sheriff but anyway, I thought you would like that about I wanted to put a plug in about the CSPOA. They're just wonderful. So another question.
Well, and let me just support you on that concept, because God, am I so blessed that I live in Elbert County, because my Sheriff Tim Norton, and the Undersheriff Dave Fisher have done a phenomenal job standing up against the mask mandates, standing up for individual freedoms. And, it has not been easy for them to patrol, because we live in a broke county, and they have been fighting for the last year to get pay raises, to get health benefits that are even worth a while. We were so short-staffed just a couple weeks ago. We were 18 deputies down, and they were having to threaten to close the county at midnight because we did not have the resources we needed. And I mean, you want to talk about someone who has integrity, who has community policing, who is approachable in law enforcement. Tim Norton is definitely the model to follow. That guy works hard for America. He works hard for Colorado. He works hard for Elbert County. And I just want to say that I'm so grateful for him. So God bless him and everything that he's done for us.
Wonderful. That is so encouraging, and really like to hear that. And I'm sure Sheriff Mack will like to hear this as well. We'll be sharing a link to this interview with him. I'm sure he'll be all for that. But thank you for saying that. I can't help but be curious as to why y'all were all of a sudden, it seems like, so short-staffed there, down by 18, did you say?
Yeah. So, man, did we have some challenges. So first and foremost, the majority of people assume that in our county, we have 8 to 10 deputies on every shift. We're lucky if we have 3 to cover the entire county.
Wow.
And CSP, I don't think people know this, but Colorado State Patrol has been running on the bare minimum for years now. And so anytime we had something happen, we had to call in Douglas County, try and get a hold of State Patrol, try and reach out to other departments. And a lot of crime comes our way from Denver. So we actually had some high-speed car chases that came our way. One ended in an officer-involved shooting, I believe. We've just had the COVID pandemic, that ran. He did a great job controlling that in the jail. I mean, I don't know how he did it, but we did have a couple cases, a couple deputies got it. But the thing with our department is that they were paid less than you can make annually at McDonald's. And these are men and women who support and defend an entire county by themselves. And the majority of our calls are domestic violence. And so he has to send both deputies, which leaves the rest of the county, unfortunately, unmanned. And so they were pulling extra shifts. They were getting burnt out. And then with COVID, the isolation and not being able to have those interpersonal relationships, it was detrimental all the way around. And I just want to, just praise Jesus that we have such great deputies in my county who stuck it out, who really honored their commitment to the badge. I mean, they went above and beyond. And obviously, Law Enforcement Appreciation Week was last week, and I'm so glad that they got some appreciation sent their way. But being in criminal justice and spending the first 10 years of my life in that and having my degree in that, I do have a different perspective and opinion on law enforcement. I do believe that we have underappreciated them and disrespected them and underfunded them for decades. And so to see them go out above the cancel culture right now, above this brazen disrespect, and still put forth the effort to defend their communities, I mean, that right there is sacrifice. But I mean, that's love. Your cops love you. And I don't think people actually put that same perspective to it. So, they leave their families, they encounter dangerous situations, and they're disrespected. It's heartening, or disheartening. I wish that they had more love and support across our state and nation, but I can guarantee when I'm governor that they are going to feel love that they've never felt before, because we will place an attitude of gratitude towards our first responders.
Wow. Yeah, that you're blowing me away pretty much constantly. I'm not sure how much more I can take, but that's fantastic. And you probably have heard, we also here, we're near Cherry Creek State Park and some fairly busy streets, and we hear the fast drivers, the racing and stuff going on. And so I was really happy to hear that Denver Police has gone together with Bandimere Speedway to invite people to come out and race your little heart out. They can even race a cop around the ring, And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. I guess to me, it seems like a good idea. Do you think that's a good idea? Maybe?
Oh my gosh. I'm like, why can I not be a part of this? Because I mean, it is a great community policing tactic, but it's also educational for them, because one of the things that my sheriff does is they have a rollover card that they take to prom, and they put it outside of prom, and it talks about drinking and driving and not wearing your seatbelt and about driving safely and making good decisions. But this is, there's so many street racing shows out right now. Street Outlaws is one of them. And so I think a lot of people do want to have that opportunity. And this is a way to do it safely, but also to build a relationship with your local law enforcement that, I mean, it can last decades. If we really do have that mutual respect in our communities, it's something that is beneficial. It's going to last a lifetime.
Right. And gosh, I think they would love for you to show up over there and, support their program. I think that would be a wonderful, I mean, since you legitimately are all for it, I think that would be a great thing to do and add it to your website and all that. But just an idea. But no, that's really, really, really great. And so moving on, and we're not going to have time for all our questions today, Danielle, but I've sent you a lot of these, and I'm certainly open if you'd like to do a follow-up. After you've had some time to look at some of these, we can come back and address all of the questions. A couple of them are coming in here too, as well. But the next one here, and there might be some redundancies, so if so, we can just keep moving. But medical lobbies have infiltrated our government and seem unstoppable. How can we prevent this from getting out of hand?
So I'm going to kind of compile that with medical freedoms. And I think there was another question about my stance on pharmaceuticals. So my stance on alternative medical treatments of COVID. So first and foremost, I do not like going to the doctor. When I was 6, my grandpa gave me a first aid kit that had a shooter of whiskey, a roll of duct tape, and super glue. To this day, I still use that all the time. I got really badly burned last year, refused to go to the doctor. I'm fine, so I believe more in Eastern medicine. So, going to the chiropractor, getting acupuncture, IV treatment, high doses of vitamin C, just anti-stress stuff. I believe that too much of our Western medicine is actually controlled by pharmaceutical lobbyists, and we don't actually ever address what's the underlying issue. We're very pill happy in America and globally right now. So you go to the doctor and you might feel sad and you leave with 10 prescriptions. No one ever finds out why you were feeling sad in the first place. And so I believe in medical freedoms. I think that you should be able to put into your body whatever you want, whatever you think is the best thing for you. Your body is your temple, and you treat your temple however you want. And don't get me confused with pro-life, pro-choice, because I often get asked this, well, she must be for medical freedom, she must be pro-abortion. And for everyone who would like to know, when I was younger, I actually had to have an abortion. I had a pregnancy that had some very serious medical complications. And to secure my reproductive future, I unfortunately had to make that decision. And I could tell you that it was not an easy decision to make. It still weighs very heavily on my heart. But I am compassionate to the men and women who have to go through that. And by men and women, it takes two to tango. So there is some guilt from the men's side too. I had a miscarriage right after that. And it is only by the grace of God that I have two beautiful children, one of which who's right here. But, people always tell me, well, if you're for medical freedoms, you must be pro-choice. And I am pro-life. I am a Christian. I hope that everyone can have the opportunity to, have that child. If you cannot personally for yourself, I would hope that you would adopt that child out, because there are plenty of families who would love to have that child. But if you have to make the choice of having an abortion, I am not here to shame you. I am not here to tell you your decisions were wrong. I am here to offer my shoulders, my compassion, my understanding, because there's a lot of grief and pain that follows with that for decades. And so for the politicians who want to push late-term abortions, that's murder. If it's anything for other than health, and I'll tell you why. It's because when you are pregnant, you get to know your kids before they're ever born. My first child had the hiccups all the time, and I knew he was going to be a goofball, and true to form, he is. My younger one kicked me and gave me heartburn every night. So I knew he was going to be a bam bam, and true to form, he's a handful. So you kind of get to know them. And for politicians to tell you, in this pop culture term, it's okay. I'm going to say this: no politician is going to come hold you in the middle of the night when you are grief stricken. In 5 years from now, when you're walking through a grocery store and you hear a child laugh and you wonder what your child would have sounded like, and you are grief stricken, they're not going to be there to pick you up off the floor. Your friends and family are. And so that is your support system. And so I will always choose compassion. I would hope that everyone would choose life. But as far as the government telling you what to do, even politicians, why is pro-life, pro-choice a political platform for them? Stay out of it. It's none of your business. COVID vaccines, everyone wanting to force COVID vaccines. Well, first off, it's not a vaccine. It's an experimental procedure right now that has not been approved by the FDA. I don't personally like to be a lab rat. I don't get vaccines now. So, they need to stay out of it. They need to stop telling you what to do with your body. They need to stop telling you what to do in your relationships. The government should not have that control. And nowhere in the Constitution is there a medical section saying that they have that right. Nowhere in the Bible either. Sorry, exactly. I get a little passionate about that.
No, exactly. I do the same. I'm right with you. I'm a natural wellness researcher and take no medications. And we're the most drugged country and the sickest. And the big pharma is corporate, and everything. To me, so much of what's wrong is corporate, corporations and telling us what to do. And you're so right. But so our group, Coloradans for Freedom, we're gathering together, and we're getting out into stores, and we're educating them on how the governor mandates are not based in law. Therefore, they're legally unenforceable. And, we will be shopping in here and paying cash. And a lot of these things have been lifting, I understand, here and there. But they usually say, as long as you have been fully vaccinated, as you say, it's not a vaccine, it's an experimental gene therapy treatment operating system. And there are real issues with the spike protein prions and shedding, which isn't a real term because it's not a really vaccine. Anyway, glad to hear all of that.